today's action here as we go to the board. Now, again, there's a lot of early action here today. It is a Thursday. It's a getaway day for a lot of teams. So we'll concentrate on some of the later starts. Let's start with the Phillies and the Marlins today. Kyle Gibson on the hill going for the Phillies today against Sandy Alcantara for Miami. The current line here has Miami a $1.11 favorite. The total here a low one at 7.5, shaded a little bit to the over at minus 120. Like I said, Gibson and Alcantara here. Gibson's coming off a pretty darn good start. He went 7 innings, gave up no runs, 2 hits, had 10 strikeouts, did not walk a batter. So Kyle Gibson, very, very impressive. However, Miami, the home team, they're the favorite here. Mark, let's start with you.
Well, it's all depending on if you want to believe Kyle Gibson was the pitcher that he was his last time out. And for me, I think it's a little bit too early, and to score a pitcher, to evaluate a pitcher on one game is probably not the way to go. I've learned over the years that I think it's better to err on the side of caution, to look at a larger sample rather than to jump your numbers around, look at one, even 5 starts. I think that you really have to have a decent body of work. Having said that, Gibson was really good his last time out. 35.9% expected strike rate. He limited hard hit per 9 to 2.6. That was a 97 percentile. His overall start was a 99 percentile. And Alcantara was trash. His overall start by my 3 metrics was a 7 percentile. So you look at that, and it kind of makes it hard to want to bet Alcantara just based on the recency. But I think that the market still, for the most part, there's a bias that exists. There's a recency bias that exists in the baseball market. If you look at their year-to-date their stats from June of last year to the end of last year, you've got Alcantara. His expected strikeout percentage, 25%. That puts him in the 76th percentile. Hard hit per 90 is a little bit better than average, 56th percentile. Really good command. Expected walk rate 3.7 in the 97th percentile. So out of 212 pitchers with 5 starts or more since last year, he's 26th out of 212. And Gibson, conversely, is 185th out of 212. So that kind of reassures me a little bit. I'm going to say that I'm going to lean to the longer term numbers than the one start that they've had this year. And so how it shakes out in the BaseWinner crunch model is I've got it priced Miami minus 152. You can get them at minus 112, so that's real valuable. And then just from a ranking standpoint, Gibson I have 115th out of 150 pitchers. I've got Alcantara at 17th out of 150 pitchers. So pretty bullish on Alcantara long term. Bullpen, we have an advantage here over the Philly bullpen. Offensively, I do have Philly's offense a little bit better than Miami's offense. I have Philly at 113. That's a weighted runs created number. And I've got Miami at 103. And a couple other notes just to kind of conclude this game. Philly on the road is interesting. So since 2019, they've only won 42% of their road games. League average on the road is 46%. Now, that's a pretty big gap. At home, they're very good. They've won 56% of their games at home since 2019. League average is 53%. So from a gap standpoint, they have the worst home minus road winning percentage, the 4th worst in baseball. And I think that's pretty concerning. A lot of these teams are building their club around the home park. I think Philly's one of them. So while I'm not a huge trend guy, I think this is a pretty large sample. There's about 4 of the key components of that lineup that it applies to. And one of the things, JT Realmuto at Marlins Park, he's got about 1,000 plate appearances at Marlins Park. His career OPS at Marlins Park, 677. His career OPS overall is 783. So there's quite a disparity in his OPS at Marlins Park. And, he's a big cog in the Phillies engine. So for all those reasons, I like Philly, or I like Miami here at minus 112.
All right, both teams on losing streaks here. Phillies lost 2 in a row. Marlins have lost 3 in a row. And again, that Marlins offense only batting $199. Jeff, you got an opinion on this game?
Yeah, I was wondering if did he want to delve into the life stories of these teams as well from the beginning, or My God, what a breakdown! I mean, I didn't know if you'd be done by 3 p.m. Eastern.
I know. I try to be as quick as I can, but I thought those were poignant stats.
I know.
I thought those were important.
No, and I'm gonna give you one better. I'm gonna add this to my card. I like this side, and I'm gonna tell you why. I agree with Mark here with the Miami Marlins. You look at over the last 2 seasons against the Phillies, Marlins is 17-12. If you know anything about this matchup, at least here in Philadelphia, this has been a major problem for the Phillies playing the Marlins. The Marlins have had their number. The Marlins have played well, and I agree. Kyle Gibson, I've always just looked at as a 3rd or 4th starter. You know, we can write home about his performance in Game 1. Remember, that was against Oakland, and I know this is not a great Marlin group, but I think they're a small ball lineup that I like. I mentioned long term. I actually like them as a little kind of a pesky team. I like Alcantara a lot. Got some pretty good numbers against particular Philly batters here. The only one that really hurts him is Bryce Harper, who seems to hurt everybody. So I feel like if you can get around Bryce Harper, you're gonna have some pretty good matchups here if you're him. We know the Phillies bullpen has trouble. This Phillies or struggle. It seems like a lot of teams are like that in baseball as we start the year. I agree with Mark. Marlins have had a good run over the last couple against the Phillies. I know this is a bugaboo for the Phillies. I agree. I'm going to add the Marlins at the same price to my card.
Now, Jeff, we know you're from Philly and you're there and you watch a lot of these Philly games. How often do you actually go on the Phillies, or do you go find yourself going against the Phillies more often than not?
Well, I don't really. I think one thing about being a gambler, I don't really have. I have affinities. I love the Eagles. I mean, I'm a diehard Eagle fan. But look, if the Eagles or Phillies or any team are in a situation where I'm going to bet against them, look, it's about my money at the end of the day. So I don't really care about fandom. I like the Phillies. They're a solid team, but I just think here it's a bad spot for them. So now I don't really look at it like that. To be honest, I'm betting against the Sixers. I bet against them last year in the playoffs. I'm betting against them this year.
I guess my point is not so much a fandom thing. It's just when you follow a team and you know them closely. And I know a lot of people who are gamblers like this who follow one certain team, and they necessarily bet against that team because they feel that they know them so well. And I think that was a little pattern that I was noticed. I know you had the Mets the other day at plus 133.
I think the Phillies.
I was just curious if you actually noticed that maybe you might bet more games against the Phillies than you do on them.
Oh, for sure, because I follow tons of fans. I follow beat people. I follow radio stuff. I listen to sports radio. I listen to the kind of the theme of this team. And look, I think the Phillies are slightly overvalued in the market just because people assume. Look, I'm not a big Nola guy. I've said that before. I'm not a huge Gibson guy. You look at Wheeler. He just doesn't have good numbers against the Mets. So it's really all about the matchup. But I've seen a little, recently, good spots to go against Phillies, and this is one of them, I think.